Some people don't look broken. They look calm, helpful, independent. We explore 6 psychological signs that someone has suffered too much and how deep emotional pain quietly changes the way people behave, trust, and connect. If you relate to any of these signs, you're not alone. Many people carry invisible scars from past experiences that shaped their identity. These patterns show up in friendships, relationships, work, and everyday life. You might even recognize yourself. And when someone has suffered too much, they start doing these things. Number 1. You apologize for everything, even things that aren't your fault. One of the quietest signs someone has suffered too much is constant apologizing. Not just for mistakes, for existing. They apologize if someone bumps into them. They apologize for asking a question. They apologize for taking up space. Because somewhere in their past, they learned a painful lesson, that peace only happens when they make themselves smaller. So sorry becomes a reflex, not because they're guilty, but because they're trying to prevent conflict before it even begins. Number 2. You become extremely independent. When someone has been hurt too many times, they stop expecting help, not because they're strong, but because they've learned something the hard way. Depending on people can be dangerous. So they become extremely independent. They handle everything alone. Stress, problems, emotions. They rarely ask for help, even when they desperately need it, because trusting someone enough to rely on them feels riskier than simply carrying the weight themselves. Number 3. You struggle to believe compliments. Another subtle sign of deep emotional scars is the inability to accept compliments. Someone says, "You're really talented. You did an amazing job." And instead of feeling proud, their brain immediately looks for the catch. They're just being nice. They don't really mean it. Because when someone has been criticized, rejected, or overlooked for a long time, their brain stops trusting positive feedback. Compliments feel suspicious. Praise feels temporary. And deep down, they're still waiting for the moment the truth comes out. Number 4. You feel responsible for everyone's emotions. When someone has suffered too much, they often become the emotional caretaker. They notice every shift in someone's tone, every sigh, every tiny change in mood, and immediately their brain asks, "Did I do something wrong?" They try to fix everything, smooth over conflicts, keep everyone happy, because at some point in their life, someone else's emotions felt dangerous or unpredictable, so they learned to constantly monitor the room, not out of kindness alone, but out of survival. Number 5. You keep people at a distance. Another sign someone has been hurt too many times is emotional distance. They might be friendly, funny, easy to talk to, but when conversations start getting too real, they quietly pull back. They change the subject, make a joke, or disappear for a while. Because letting someone truly see them feels like handing over a loaded weapon. Not because they don't want connection, but because they remember what it costs. Number 6. You always look strong. The final sign is the one people praise the most. You're always the strong one, the calm one, the reliable one, the one everyone else leans on. You handle stress, support friends, keep moving forward no matter what happens. And people admire that strength. But what they don't see is that sometimes strength isn't a choice. It's what happens when life never gave you the option to fall apart. So you became the person who never breaks, even when part of you desperately needs to. People who have suffered deeply don't always look wounded. Sometimes they look independent. Sometimes they look kind. Sometimes they look unbreakable. But behind those behaviors, there's often a story no one ever asked about. If you recognized yourself in any of these signs, you're not strange. You adapted. And sometimes understanding those patterns is the first step toward finally putting some of that weight down. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. And tell me in the comments, which sign do you notice the most in people?